Your first collaborative exercise in basic workflow with Git. In this video, I'll be showing you how to pull changes from Git, how to fork and clone other people's repositories, how to submit pull requests, how to deal with receiving pull requests, and showing you a simple GitHub workflow, as well as showing you how a git ignore file works, so you don't have to repeatedly remove files from being added. So in your last exercise, in video 2, you were able to create a repository, add stuff to it, and then see it on GitHub, as exists here. However, this is still a simple one-person operation where you're only creating stuff on your local machine and sending it one direction, and that is to your Git repository. What if you want to work collaboratively and involve more people in your project? Well, there's a way to do that, and I will show you how. The most basic way to do this is with the forking model, and I'll show you how that works in just a second. Here's a graph of how it looks. Here's Joe's GitHub repo. In our case, we'll be using someone whose name is not Joe, but essentially there is someone else's GitHub repo. This assumes it is a public repository, which means that anybody can view it, but nobody can change it except the owner, in this case, Joe. If you want to modify it and play with it, what you do is you fork it, and this is a method on GitHub and not Git. You fork it over and essentially creates a complete copy of the repository under your account. So now you have your GitHub repository that starts as an exact copy of theirs. From there, you could pull it down onto your local computer for modification. And then from there, the process we've already gone through of adding changes, committing changes, and pushing them back up to your repository. At which point you go to your final stage, which is send a pull request, which is it sends a request to them to pull in your latest data and include it into their repository. And I'm going to show you how this can happen. I've already singled out a repository that I want to target for forking. It's just this project here. As done for the coding bootcamp at UT Austin, we had to do a hangman game. So I'm going to go ahead and click this fork button when I found a repository that I like. Here's fork, should be forked to this repository, fork it to my account. I'm multi-shifties, you will have your own username. Forking, this should only take a few seconds. Gotta be patient with the internet sometimes. It can be slow, and this is going to depend on your internet connection. However, just like that, now I have a copy of the Hangman game, and it says right here underneath, fork from add-encode Hangman. So now I have my copy, complete with its URL, in case I wanted to clone this down. So right here you have your clone or download button, and from here there's the SSH key, paraphrase for the account. You can go ahead and copy this to the clipboard with this convenient icon located right here. So let's go ahead, bring it down to our computer during the clone stage, and play around with it. So we're still in our first repository from the previous exercise. Let's get out of that one. Let's go ahead and run git clone, and this will pull it down and create, if it does not exist, a folder for the repository. So let's go with git clone, this game right here that I've copied from him. Cloning into a folder named Hangman, and done. Now if we ls, we should be able to see it here. There it is right there, Hangman. Let's go ahead and change into that file. So right now we're on our master branch, on our copy of the repository that is, at this current time, an exact clone of the original. Let's go ahead and play around with it. I'm going to go ahead and open this with my default text editor, which is Sublime Text. Let's do something really simple. Something incredibly verbose, like here is a modification. Save, done. Now, in the real world, if you were to fork someone's project over for improvement, you would put in something a lot more meaningful than this. But this video is just for demonstration purposes. So, moving on. I can go ahead and close that out, and from here I can run, like in the previous video, git status. And here you'll see that the README has been modified. We're going to run a git add dot for everything in the repository, which right now is only the README file. Git status again, and you will, typos. Git status again, and you will see that the README has been modified and is now ready to be committed. So if we were to run a git commit -m random text it will now save a new save point or commit with a tag of random text. At which point we've only made a few modifications there. 1 file change, 3 insertions, 1 deletion. Now, if we were to run git status, we are ahead of origin master, which is the repository that we forked it from, by 1 commit. And this is sometimes accurate, other times it's not accurate. It doesn't work 100% of the time. But for a direct fork over of a single repository, it usually works like a charm. Nothing to commit, working directory is clean. But since we have, let's see, git remote -v, you'll see right here, our origin is our copy of the repository, which means we have both direct pull and push access to our repository, whereas the one we forked it from, we do not have that same access. I can just imagine how disastrous it would be if anybody could directly push changes to anybody else's repository. You would have all kinds of broken code. So, now that we're at this stage, we are ready to send it up. It's been committed, and now we're ready to put it onto our copy of the repository on GitHub, because right now our computer is still ahead. So we can run this by running git push origin master. This will send the copies from my local machine onto my GitHub repository. So now my GitHub repository is 1 commit ahead of the repository that I forked it from. So now we're into our final stage of pull request. So let's just go here and refresh this. Refreshing now. And it says right here, here is a modification. Congratulations, our change is now on GitHub. So there's this little button here that says new pull request. By pressing this, I can send a pull request to the person I forked it from. In this case, my code buddy, Adam. Great guy, by the way. And it says, able to merge, these branches can be automatically merged. And if there's 2 different changes, or one branch is ahead of the other, or his repository has changes that you do not have, sometimes this doesn't happen. You will need to make a new copy and repeat the process. And let's go ahead and create a pull request. And of course, because it's for demonstration purposes, he doesn't actually need to merge it in. There we go. Please delete this. Chances are he will go ahead and delete it because all we did is modify the README. His code is completely unaffected. Now in a real circumstance, obviously, you would make more code that actually has an effect. Create pull request. Pull request has been sent, and now on his end, he will receive a notification saying that there have been modifications, or in most cases, improvements to the code that they can then review and accept if they choose to. So congratulations, you've just contributed to someone else's code. For our demonstration video, however, we're going to show you both ends of how this looks. So, did I mention Adam is a great guy? Remember our first repository from earlier that we were working with in the last video? I went ahead and had him fork it over, go through the same process we showed you just now, make modifications, and send us a pull request. So here's how it looks to be on the receiving end. There's this little tab inside your repository that says pull requests. Clicking on that shows you that things have been updated. 1 open, 0 closed. You have the option to close out pull requests if you feel that their contributions would not add value to your repository. So by clicking on this, we can actually look into the details of what was changed. He says, added an H3 element and capitalized Mars when we said hello Mars earlier. Interesting. In our case, we sent the message of please delete this because it was completely unnecessary. In any case, I can click on this, index.html, to review it and look at it further. And here were the changes he's done. He's deleted the original H2 that says hello Mars. He put in an H2 of hello Mars, capital on the M, and put in an H3 of goodbye Mars. Creative, right? And on GitHub, when you're looking at changes, deletions will be in red, additions will be in green. This is a nice way to keep track of the changes between someone else's version and your version. It makes things incredibly simple. So, let's go ahead back to the commits here and go ahead and see what we can do. Here's our pull requests. Beta index HTML. merge pull request. And when you say merge pull request, this is you confirming that the other code you want will be added to your repository. Confirm merge. Here we go. And now if we go to our first repo, it should have all the latest changes that he did on his computer remotely. Matter of fact, there it is. Hello world, hello Mars, and Mars is capitalized, and an H3 of goodbye Mars. Congratulations, we've both sent code and received code. You've completed your first collaborative exercise. However, we're still not done. There's one issue that we haven't done. GitHub is up to date and has all of the latest data. However, your local machine is still behind. And there's a way to fix this real quick. Let's go ahead and cd out of this repository. Go back into our original file, which was first repo. We're now in first repo on branch master, which is right where we need to be. If I run a git status, it says the README is still untracked, and it says it's up to date with origin master. And this is like I was saying, that issue earlier where sometimes it doesn't read accurately, it says it's up to date with origin master, even though it is currently one commit behind. So let's go ahead and run this command. Do you remember how you could run a git push to origin master to send information up? Well, the reverse works too. You can run git pull, there's a Y there, pull origin master. And what this will do, this will pull the latest information from the repository onto your local machine. There we go, and you can see right here, as fast forwarded, index.html has been added 3 lines, or 3 total changes. 1 file was changed, index.html, 2 insertions, and 1 deletion. Our original Hello Mars was deleted, the Hello Mars capitalized was added, as well as the Goodbye Mars by our friend Adam. And now we run a git status. You can see that nothing else has changed. All the changes from the repository have been automatically merged into our file. Matter of fact, if I open this file in our Sublime editor, you can see that we even have the raw code from the repository right here on our computer. And there you have it. However, we still have one small issue. We have this README that we're not using. In this case, it's a README. But in the case of development environments, it could be anything. System files, or perhaps sensitive keys or sensitive data that you simply don't want visible on the internet. And you could simply run a git checkout file name to remove it each time. However, when you have hundreds of files, this gets tedious. And there's a faster way to do this. I'm going to show you how to create a gitignore file. The command is touch.gitignore. Now, touch is what I use on OXX to create a new file. This may be the same on some Linux devices, but I can't guarantee that. And on Windows, you will have to run a different command to whatever it is to create a file. Just remember the file you're creating is .gitignore. And inside of here, we can run open.gitignore and simply add the file or files that we wish to be ignored. In this case, readme.md. Save, close, and run a git status. You can see that readme is no longer in our untracked file list. However, our gitignore is. So we're going to git add gitignore, git status now, and you can see that gitignore, our file, has been added into the list ready to be committed. Let's go ahead and commit that. And finally, git push origin master. There we go. And now all of our changes should be right here on our repository. And here we have it. Here's our gitignore that is ignoring our readme file that currently has nothing in it except for the text of hi, and our index.html, which contains both changes from both ourselves and Adam, who is a great guy, by the way. Thank you for doing this on such short notice, buddy. I appreciate it. Alright then, and that is how you fork a repository, clone a repository, submit pull requests, and receive pull requests. That also shows you how to create a gitignore file and create a simple GitHub workflow. I will see you in the next video with the details of how to go over branching and why it's important. See you soon.